And now, Detailing Success and PNS Double Black present the Renny Doyle Podcast, a podcast for blue-collar entrepreneurs. Hosted by the detailer of Air Force One and founder of both Detailing Success and the Detail Mafia, Renny Doyle.
What's up, man? Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Good.
I'm reading through all the comments here. We got lots of good mornings. Lots of good mornings from Facebook users. And I love the fact that people are joining us from within Facebook groups. That's part of the point. But unfortunately, the darn software, because of privacy settings in the group, doesn't show us your name.
Yeah, so when you say good morning, tell us where you're from and your
whenever you
name.
comment like that, leave your name next to the comment. That'd be awesome.
Heck yeah. So good morning, Nathan. What's up, buddy? Miss you, man. It's Fast Eddie's in the house. Christian, what's up? We got a lot of great people, a lot of good friends. Sarah, how you doing?
Man,
good
I don't even see Fast Eddie's yet.
Yeah,
I must
I'm
have
just.
missed it.
You know what? See these eyes? Eagle eyes. They're eagle eyes. Hey, so
there's Jared.
We have, today we're gonna talk about hesitation and knowledgeable hesitation, and then just like crippling hesitation, and most people fall in that latter category. But we're going to talk about how to use hesitation, how to develop knowledgeable-based hesitation, which a lot of people don't understand what that is. But there's times where hesitation is actually good, but most of the time in small business, it really, like I said earlier, it cripples people. So we're going to talk about that a little bit before we do that. Man, we had a great week last week. We had our Bob Dave and I talked about having a distributor experience here in Big Bear, because a lot of the distributors, they've never been here. They've been to the headquarters of the mothership. They've been up to the production facility, so forth, but they've never been here to Big Bear. And so much of what we've done in the last 7 years kind of started here. And so it was really cool to have distributors in house. There you go. There's a group shot of us, and we just had a wonderful event. Team PNS was in the house, and we had a lot of good people, a lot of fun, a lot of good food. Got to take people out to experience our local Murray's. I almost wore my Murray's sweatshirt this morning, which is our little.
Get one of those.
Yeah, I'll get you one. I'll pick you one up. Which is our little. It's funny because I don't drink, but yet our favorite place to go for food here in town is Murray's. And it's a bar, and it's really, really good food, I think. It was Cinco de Mayo that night, so it was a little wild, but we had such a great time, and so many great people, and it was just great to all come together. So we're definitely gonna set another date for another 2-day distributor event here coming shortly. Sure, we'll make that happen this fall.
Yep.
And then yesterday, this is right up my alley. This is something I've been wanting to do with the Mafia, and we're talking about. There's going to be a surprise announced here sometime, shortly. But we're going to have we're hosting a leadership training here in Big Bear in August, and we opened it up to the Mafia. We've been talking about putting on a leadership course, and as you can see by this flyer, is that it's all based on outdoors. So it's based on search and rescue and military principles, wilderness and outdoorsman principles. And building yourself up into a better leader. Is we're going to take and have people face some things they're uncomfortable with. They're going to learn how to take and pay attention to little things. Everything's aimed back. It's all skill sets that I've learned in my careers outside of detailing that will take, and I really believe have helped me greatly in business. I think that it helps me every single day of business. So we're going to take 2 days and put some people in some great positions, really teamwork, build up. We're going to build up a lot of people in individual strengths and challenges, culture building, friendship building, leadership, followership. Believe it or not, I know that's weird to think, but you're going to take and learn how to take and within your team is be able to delegate different tasks and so forth. So, matter of fact, Chris is going to be a student. He's going through it. So
apparently.
Oh, not apparently. Yeah, not apparently. So he asked if he could stay in the camper, and I said, no, that's the command staff headquarters, so we got to keep that. But, they're going to go into we are doing an overnighter. It's going to be warm, won't be too cold, and we're going to take and teach the team how to take and build shelters, and they're gonna spend the night in their shelters, and we'll teach them how to be very comfortable being uncomfortable. So we're really, really excited about this. And the good news is, I think what did it sell out in 4 hours, half a day?
Oh, geez, I don't even think that. But we were limited to about 15 spots within the Detail Mafia, so it did go pretty quick.
Yeah. So we've got three primary instructors, and so we've got Oscar Hernandez, U.S. Marine, is combat Marine, drill instructor. He's not gonna use his drill instructor. He might use his drill instructor voice, but he's not going to be. It's not in your face, stressed out. It's teaching in a little higher paced environment than maybe some people are used to. And then a good friend of mine, Norman, he's here in Big Bear. He's also Mafia. He's a captain in the local fire department. He's going to be one of the instructors. Diane, my wife, which is in the center picture there, she's going to be one of the navigation instructors, and then myself. And so we're going to have a good time. 20 people altogether, just shy of 20 people with the instructors, and we're going to have a blast. We just went on last night and ordered some additional equipment and went over some things. So we're excited about that. So, well, hey, let's jump into hesitation, shall we? Let's not hesitate any longer.
Before you do, I already have a really good question, and you don't need to answer it right off the bat, but I thought it would be good to keep it in mind to maybe address throughout. And it came from, now I'm trying to find it because I was going to pull it up on the screen. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. So here it is from Fast Eddie's. Do you think hesitation is as bad as procrastination?
Yeah, I think they're two. I think procrastination is I think they're definitely two different things, right? And so I think hesitation isn't near as bad as procrastination. I think that when you become like a hoarder of hesitation, you become, you procrastinate, and it just becomes the never ending. We're actually even going to talk about that, is that, where you're procrastinating. There's things this leadership course I procrastinated on, or I hesitated on, and it was just finding the time. And, we did it. So I think procrastination is probably far more common with people that are looking into getting a business. We're even going to talk about that here in just a second. So, I mean, I'm not a procrastinator. So I definitely, I'll have to think about this throughout the podcast today. I'm not a procrastinator. I'm a hesitation person, both good and bad. We'll cover that here in a second. I think that all too many people are procrastinators. They sit back on their heels. I've got somebody, a loved one in mind right now that has pretty much watched life go by with procrastination. Probably chronic procrastination. I would say that my mom, God rest her soul, was a lifetime procrastinator. Is that she was so fearful of things that she was. It had her picture, in Webster's dictionary when it comes to procrastination. Some people are just that way, but I think that through that I learned from that, because my grandma wasn't. My grandma was. I picked that up from her. She'd make a decision to go. She would hesitate sometimes, but there's good hesitation too. So, and that's where I think I don't think procrastination is good. I think hesitation can be good. So I think that might be a good way of explaining it. So that's a great question.
This isn't a jab at my wife, but she is a procrastinator too, and she's a pretty good one. But you know what? She always comes through at the very last minute. It's done.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Diane can be a little bit of a procrastinator. Not too bad. She's pretty good, but she'll, we all can, I guess. I mean, to say I don't procrastinate, our wives would probably disagree with both of us to say we don't procrastinate, because I'm sure we have our areas of procrastination that we're very good at. So hey, here the topic is hesitation can kill you or save you in business and life. The meaning of hesitation is to hesitate is to hold back from doing or saying something in doubt or uncertainty. And so before we jump into this, I really, I think directly related, I had a really cool conversation late last night with a really good friend of mine. This friend, let me explain this friend's success. This friend owns his own time. I'm not going to mention his name. Owns his own time just because he hates when I do. I have in the past, but he hates when I do. So I'm going to honor him. He owns totally his own time. What's that mean? Is that if he wants to go hiking, he goes hiking. If he wants to go ski, go ski. If he wants to do, when he goes to the gym, he goes to the gym. When he makes the decision, he goes there. He owns every bit of his time, every single bit of it. There's not too many restraints in his life. That's not too many people can say that. I mean, and he owns 365 days a year. He owns his time. He owns everything he's in. He has a newer car, nothing fancy, and it's paid for. He has a home, it's paid for. His business, paid for. Everything that's involved in his life is simple. And we were talking last night, and I asked him, I said, what do you think drove you to get to that point? And he did it at he's very at ease with himself. And he goes, Renny, it's just for the things that I love in life, that we're not going to always have those things. And it made me think about it, is that, I think I've had a little above average success in the things I've done in life. And why? So I went down a list of things that I absolutely love. Because when he said that, and it comes out to this, is I love life. I love living, even in the challenging days. I don't want to be gone. This journey's not done. I know people that at 20 something years old, their journey's over. It's over. And I'm just not there, man. I just love this life. Always have. Even during my challenging times as a kid, and I had some, is that I just loved life. I could always get through. I put a reel up this morning on Instagram, if you guys could go check it out. And it just talks about, I'm not going to give people that have very little knowledge about me much attention or much degree of rights to come into my life, because they don't have the right information about me. And so I've always had that outlook, and I've been able to get past criticisms or hate or, judgmental people, all these different things. Right on the heels of that, I love people, is that I get frustrated by people, but the people that are closest to me, I care about them, a deep soul-based care, appreciation, love. I love dogs. I love horses. I love animals, period. I love Mother Nature. I love mountains. When I was a kid, I dreamed of living where I've lived for well over half my life. I was in my 20s when I moved to the mountains, and I finally got here. And I left for a very small time, and I hated it. Couldn't stand it. I think that beach people are great. I think if you like the big city, if you live in LA or New York or whatever city you're in and you just dig it, it is who you is. That's what I am in the mountains. I love skiing. I love cars. I love planes. I love helicopters. Is that I love the sky. I love, believe it or not, I love flowers. I love trees. Is that you talking to my buddy last night, is that our degree of success is that monetarily, it's I've got more monetary value than he's got. But I come back to this. He owns 100% of his time. And boy, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of value in that. So going back down and finishing that is, I think that when it comes down to it, I love helping people grow. That's the whole purpose of this podcast, is to make one person stand up today and go, wow. And if we do, I hope that please make a comment. Make a comment on the podcast. Rate our podcast. Share our podcast. That is very important to us, is because we want to get to more people. It's not about, fame and living in the reel I put up, living for the cheers, you'll die by the boot. A lot of people think, oh man, Renny's ego and this and that. No, I'm very self-confident in my abilities, but I'm very private too. Is that video, if you go look at it, is a meaningful time with my horse Rip. We're working on something. That was early. He's doing a lot. We're doing a lot better now. My point to this is that the only cheers I need is from my wife at this point in my life. As long as she's cheering me on, I'm pretty damn happy. Is that I love being around people and I love being appreciated. But when it comes down to it, what really makes me tick is the happiness of my wife. My kids are grown. They're doing their own thing. And our kids are with us. And while they're our children, is that they're going to move on. My wife and I won't, is we will spend a lifetime. I'll spend my last day with her, right, hopefully right next to her. And so I can't say that with my children. We raised very strong kids, and we wanted them, and they have gone out into this world charging after it on their own. But my wife and I signed a lifelong contract, and we intend to keep that contract. And nobody will come between us. And I certainly won't screw that up, and I trust in her wholeheartedly that she won't. So out of everything that I talk about, just learn this one thing: love all things that you dig. Simple as that, man. Just love all things. So let's talk about hesitation. Let's go into the topic. Sorry to kind of go off on there, but it was a really interesting conversation last night. And just to hear my buddy say that about how he's gotten to where he's at, to where so many people don't own their time, and he's got so many great interest, and he does things on a whim because he can, but his life is laid out because he loves so much and he does so much. And I love and have a lot of interest in life. And I think that's what has allowed me to get where I'm at. And I think it will continue to propel me until my very last day. Is that it's a pretty cool passion. So, I've had hesitation spots in my life. And as I look back, maybe there was some procrastination. I'd like to get that. I'm going to get that opinion from Diane tonight and see if there is areas of my life where she thinks. I would say, no, I don't procrastinate. I do hesitate. But it'll be interesting to see what she says. Is that a lot of the times the hesitation is moving slow on actions, is fearing I'd fail. Okay. And again, is procrastination and hesitation two different things, and at least in my life, is that I feared I'd fail, is that I had opportunities, but I was slow to act. There's a couple of them. I won't go into those now. There's two actions that I took in hesitation, killed those opportunities, two of them. And I will go down. I've been able to make it up, but one of them, I'll never make it up. It was a dream, and why I hesitated and why I didn't come back with my wife and have a deeper conversation about it, I have no idea. But it's also part of who I am now, and I learned, so I don't regret it. Not totally believing in myself was some of the hesitation I had, and hopefully I'll relate to others. This is a big one. Letting others wrongfully give me a BS angle on my own abilities. So many people, I read a quote and it said, people aren't cheering for you. They're just completely surprised you're getting all this shit done still. And you know what? I don't agree with that totally. I think that a lot of people, your strongest allies, are cheering for you. They see abilities within yourself that you don't. But a lot of people are going to sabotage that because they themselves are procrastinators. They don't have the gonads to get up and go and get after it. And not only they're watching you not hesitate, but they're stalled. They're completely out. They don't want, deep down, they don't want you to be able to do it because they themselves like to do it. And that's just human nature. I hate to say it. That's why you got to be really careful who gets into that inner circle where you open up a little bit too. Also, faking knowledge is I needed to wing it on a hope and a prayer and hope I didn't crash. And I did crash, but I was in a place where I could recover. There's a big difference right there, is that I've gone into things not totally knowing. Now, let's take you over to this. I've never been a full-time soldier, and I'm doing some cool shit right now that I've been called in to do. And it is life and death. It's training people in some life and death things. And in search and rescue, I've spent a whole career in life and death. I tried as a young commander. I made a decision. One of my more senior mentoring commanders was on scene, and we made a decision to go out and do a rescue. And I drew up the plan. I went over it with my team. Team agreed to it. In the back of my mind, I hesitated for a second. And in the back of my mind, I questioned that plan. And then I went to the previous commander and I said, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And he shared his thoughts and ideas with me and his concerns. And I immediately changed that plan. That plan that I had probably could have went through, but there was a chance that I could get somebody hurt or killed in doing it. And so when I came back and I changed it, we went over to a plan. Nobody could get killed. Nobody could get hurt. And so that's really, really important, is that in your daily lives is that we learn from the culture and the surroundings. Most of us never deal with life and death situations. Is that a small percentage of the population does. I've got that on my side, is that hesitation can, if I slow down, it can save me. Hence the whole topic in this. But if I hesitate too much, it can kill somebody else or even a team member, even myself. And so I took in faking knowledge. I see so many entrepreneurs doing this. They're trying to skip chapters in their journey. And listen, there's a natural path to success. Some are really fast at it. Others weren't. I wasn't one of those that were super, super fast because I just didn't have the knowledge base and the life experiences. There's a saying is that time's the best education. And it's so true, because now problem solving at my age compared to 20 years ago is that I can have something hit my phone, a call, have a challenge, where 20 years ago, serious challenge. Might not get through that challenge. Might not know how to help that person get through that challenge. But now I've lived through so many of those, that challenge is not a challenge at all. There's an answer to it, and I've learned that answer through time and experience. On the flip side, I had some learning lessons that patterning growth is real, and that moving hard, fast, and reckless is deadly. Is that we've all seen people in life that they start these businesses up, they totally don't know what they're getting into. They quit their day job, they go into it hardcore, and the next thing you know is they're broke and back at work for somebody else. They're so scared and paranoid, they never make that attempt again. They've just completely ruined their chances of owning their time and owning their business. So life lessons 360 degrees around me. A tough upbringing, sports, schooling, ROTC classes, search and rescue, military. Most important, key mentors and coaches. It comes down to that, is that I was able to tap into their experiences, their life experiences, things that they took and their challenges that they faced. They had to learn the hard way to come out of those challenges. And I was able to take and skip pages and chapters by doing that. Not complete chapters, but complete pages and chapters by learning from their mistakes. Now, all those other things is growing up tough. I can spot a fight from a mile away. I can also take and usually spot somebody that's posturing versus a dangerous person that you just don't want to tangle with. Sports to me came down to dedication. It was coming through on something. It was learning teamwork. It was learning individual strengths and weaknesses. Schooling, I was horrible at school, special ed kid, but I had to learn to get past my ADD and dyslexia. I had to. And so the right teachers, the right educators, ROTC of learning back in school of just taking junior ROTC, Boy Scouts, and then going into ROTC later was amazing. I learned a lot of discipline there, a lot of systems and processes, if you would. SAR, search and rescue, I cannot tell you the value of that lesson that I've learned and how it's paid off for me and others that I come in contact with. So now let's talk about time. A lot of young people, listen, if you're young or old, I don't care. Time is going to be an educator, but a lot of people, I remember when I was young, when I was in my 20s going after it, they put those doubting thoughts into my mind, is that I'm too young, I'm too inexperienced. I wasn't listening to that. I let them slow me down and hesitate, maybe procrastinate a little bit on that. And I decided, listen, this is my dream. I've already overcome some things. I'm going to hit. When I met my wife, I told her I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm still learning the art. There's going to be some peaks and valleys. As I get a little older in the next 10 years, there's going to be fewer and fewer valleys and more peaks. And that was exactly the truth. But, part of it was admitting my weaknesses, is that I was young and inexperienced. I didn't have a lot of things on my plate, but the thing I was really good at is going out and being coached, being mentored, of being trained by these other men and women that have been there and done that. Where did that come from? I was used to having a coach in sports. I was used to having teachers in school. I was used to following leadership within SAR in the military. All these different things have played into my success in my life, and the things that I've obtained and the things that I've achieved. Is time is your best education. But you know what? There's 20-year veterans doing it like rookies. And there's rookies doing it like 10, 15-year veterans. And so if you're young, don't let anybody take and get into your mind and sour you. If you're older and getting into business, don't let anybody say you're too old. You're nothing. You are what you think in your mind. Exactly that. Now, if you're taking and watching this, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's one thing. If you're listening to it, you're not going to see my expressions. I'm pretty passionate about this. And so, I'm going to take, and you can listen to it all you want, but sometimes this might be one that you want to watch. And I'm telling you, we put a ton of work into these podcasts. Is that out of this one right now, this hesitation one, is that if I would have hesitated and doubted myself back in the early days, I could easily be 5 or 10 years ahead of myself. But I didn't. I did do that hesitation a little bit. Why? Even with the best coaches, even with the best mentor, even with the best examples sitting out in front of me, even with some of our customers that were unbelievable level professionals, is I still had that little bit of doubt and hesitation. And I told somebody at this last event, they said something about themselves that was negative. And I told them immediately, don't ever say that about yourself again. Why? Because some of my negative opinions of myself is exactly what held me back and made me hesitate. So now let's go in, grind, hustle, work hard, whatever you call it, whatever you want to call it, big game, all this stuff. Is I'm going to go in and, while you guys are sleeping, I'm still working. Hey, I dig it, man. I dig it. Is that yet a lot of people, when they're in that grind, they're in that hustle. It's pretty short term because they go into what's called burnout. And so here's what I'm going to tell you is that when you get into business, is that there are times to hesitate. There are times to slow down. When you feel yourself wearing down, nobody's bomb-proof. Everybody needs some sleep. Everybody needs rest. Everybody needs nutrients. Everybody needs exercise. Everybody needs soul time. What I mean by that is soul time with the people and the animals in your life and the passions that you love. You need that downtime to recharge things. Okay? Simple as that. And when you hesitate to realize those things, you're actually dragging a foot on your own success. It's unreal. And I've seen it time and time again. I can see it from a mile away because I myself have done it. And so I've never applied the brakes in my life or my business. Never. I've gone beast mode ever since I was a kid. Ever since I can remember I've never applied the brakes. It was, look, Mom, no hands. Mine was, look, Mom, no brakes, man. There's pictures of me back when I did a lot of mountain biking and I'm sliding in this turn. My hands aren't even close up to the brake, not even close to it, because I've treated business the same way. Now, there's times that you can slow down, just like I said, in skiing, is that we use the mountain, believe it or not, to slow ourselves down. The only time I break in skiing is when I'm coming to a stop. Other times, I'm usually using the momentum and physics of the mountain to slow myself down through turns and get through obstacles. It's the same way in life. You've got to apply those same principles. But both business and life have a way of slamming on the brakes for those that don't respect the natural inner knowledge of hesitation. Even worse is that constant hesitation mode. When people are in constant hesitation mode, it's going to clean your clock. But likewise, when you're trying to skip chapters, not pages, in your book of success, is that life's going to catch up with you, and business is going to catch up with you, because you're taking valuable lessons and putting it down the road. And sometimes those valuable lessons, you're going to hit them when you're bigger, when you got a lot more invested. You're not going to know how to take care of them. And guess what? It's really, really going to hurt you. So now, knowledge-based hesitation. My take, what is that? Is that recently I had an opportunity. I had a big opportunity, huge return, but I have some past history with this opportunity, right? So I had to take in this last week, I had to go over risk versus reward. Is it really a want or a need? Is there, due to the fact that I've seen a pattern, and I've seen the past history, and I've witnessed that past history, is it something I really want to do? Now, the younger me would have said, well, no, let me correction. The younger me did say, absolutely, let's jump. And it was the right decision for education and learning. It was the wrong decision because I lost a lot. I had set me back a couple years in business, at least a couple years. It cost me a lot of money. It cost over $500,000. And I was young. I mean, to have that much money at that age and just liquid, and it was just vaporized. And so I looked at that opportunity and I said, at this stage of my life, I don't need the risk. I just don't need that risk. The risk versus reward is too great. And while I'd love to get into it, it's got a really good chance at a big return. At this stage of my life, I would have more worry and concern over reward, and I'm just not used to it. So my youthful mind would have said, my youthful drive would have said, man, go for it. My wise drive was saying, do you really need this? Is that we feed each other. And so I got on the phone with coach, mentors, teachers. I got on the phone immediately with one of my mentors, told him what was up. And he says, why would you put anything? He goes, you're looking at this with the right eyes. You don't need this at this stage of your life. It's a great opportunity, but do you really need it? And I said, no, the answer is no. But what I did is got confirmation on my thoughts from somebody that's very wise in my book, and I decided to step away from that. Now, we still had mutual respect for the person bringing me the opportunity, but I just couldn't be sold on the massive gains versus the chance of loss or stress. So let's talk about a realist versus a hopeless business romantic. The wise realist, they're going to look for input. They're going to know their terrain knowledge. They're going to know what they're getting into. And sorry, I'm relating this back to travel, in the mountains. That's where I'm most comfortable. Is that when I'm going into somewhere, I get a topo map. Even if I've never been there before, is that looking at the topo map, what's that give me? What's a topo map give me? It's going to give me how steep is the terrain? Is there water? What's going to be the challenges of egress? How are we going to get out of there, in there and out of there? Is that if we do find the subject, is what do we do? When we find the subject, what's the objective, and how the hell do we take and get our mission completed? Is I'm looking for the terrain, I'm looking for input, I'm looking for tribal knowledge of the area. Now, if there's somebody that's on our team that's been dispatched to that area before, what are we going to do? We're going to talk to that professional and get input. Now, the careless realist has the means, has some knowledge, but is looking to go massive, going out to prove themselves, be the hero, is 1 foot rungs turn into 10-foot rungs. Is again, they're not just skipping pages in a chapter, they're skipping entire chapters. Usually they hit the ground hard and the recovery is really costly. And so you've got to know the difference between those two. Are you looking at these with rosy colored glasses? Or are you looking at reality? Hesitation. Is the hesitator or somebody that's going to procrastinate, they're never going to be able to see success in this mission. They're never going to be able to see how this is going to work. And so there's those extremes. So what I tell you now is be the wise realist. Look at this. What's the realities of it? Risk versus reward. Make yourself what you want, but not before you actually do the work and pay the price. Again, time is the educator. The romantic. There's been times when I was younger that I could take and turn anything into a good mission. In business, or anything else in any of my other crazy stuff I've done. I could take and turn myself into something that, oh man, that is not going to be hard. I got this. I'm 25 years old and I'm built for speed. I'm going to make this happen. We can power right through that, only to have my clock cleaned because I just didn't have all the information, the data, the seat time, and time hadn't been my knowledge builder. And so you've got to be careful of not romanticizing your opportunities. Passion on fire. I am guilty of this. I'm so passionate about the things I do that I can talk myself into almost anything. But here's the thing is look at it with precision. Look at it with knowledge. And if you don't have the precision, you don't have the trained knowledge, then go get it. Find somebody that does. They're out there. And that doesn't mean that you're going to stop. You might have I had a good friend of mine call me yesterday with a massive opportunity way outside of his comfort zone. I mean, way outside, bigger than what he's ever dreamed of. And I told him, you got to go. You got to go see what it's about. Try out the waters. Is that if I don't have the answers after you get some answers, I'll find somebody that does. Is that we're only 3 degrees of separation. We've got somebody in our pool of people that can help us out. But go for it. Don't ever hesitate on that. Go see what's happening. It doesn't mean that you've got to take it. And so that was huge. Now, are you paralyzed with procrastination or hesitation? Majority of people are today. They fall into this exact category. Their comfort zone is all too easy to stay within. They love to take and talk about it. We've got friends and colleagues that they'll talk endlessly about this next great thing as they're going into this multi-level marketing thing. They're going into this. They're going into that. Listen, I got more ideas on business and future businesses and events and everything else than I can even count. I got notebooks full of them. But the difference is I evaluate, I hesitate on the ones that I don't think that are going to be profitable, and I take actions on the ones that I do. So now, we have all. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was going to say, this is what happened to me in my last career. I spent at least 5 years too long there. I was comfortable, didn't want to jump out of my comfort zone, that kind of thing. And, you look back and it's like that really, the bottom line is it cost me 5 years of my life,
If you could have been doing something else,
Yep.
But, here's the good side of that, Chris, is you learn from that. You're relatively young still. You're very young, still at your production age then, is that look what you took away is that now what not to do. And more importantly, you can share that wisdom with others. And so you're going to use your wisdom because right now it's a revolving door of wishes and hopes for most people. Is they're wishing that their circumstances were changed and they're hoping that it will. And that's as far as it ever goes. Is they don't take action, they hesitate. And again, we get golden handcuffs on, is what's that mean? Is we get handcuffs on ourselves that are paying us just enough to live our lives as we think is due. Is that, Bob Phillips was sharing the story on Michael Jordan, and he watched this. I've yet to watch it. I'm going to try to watch it, download it, and watch it on my flight next week. Is that he was talking about the story of Nike approaching him, and a lot of people saying, "Man, Nike's not really a basketball shoe; they're a running shoe company, and so forth and so on." And now, what he had one person basically in his ear telling him to take the deal, and they never dreamed that they'd be paying Michael Jordan what they pay him. They never dreamed that their basketball Air Jordans would be such a massive following as it is now. But yet he took a step out. He didn't hesitate. He got coaching. He got mentors to give him input, and he made the decision on his own to go. So in closing, is that go hard. Don't hesitate, but don't go way past your abilities. Is that time is your educator. We've said that many, many times today. But here's the thing. Mentors, coaches, teachers are all there. They can take and split the hairs for you and help you make that decision and actually help you be very successful, even if you're in over your abilities. But if you try to do it on your own, if you're that hopeless romantic in business and it's all me, I got this, got a good chance that you're going to hit the ground. You're going to hit the ground hard. So own your weaknesses. Is take and identify, what am I not good at? Is that I outsource a lot of things in our business because I'm just not good at it. I don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. especially things that I don't enjoy, is that I'm going to be more profitable doing the things I enjoy than forcing myself to do the things that I'm not good at and I don't enjoy. On these is when I say weaknesses, own them. Everybody looks at their strengths. Is that, right now, is that I look at countries and everybody talks about the big powerful countries and how China and Russia and the US, and we're going to get in this big fight and dogfight and everything else. I look at the small countries that can be taken over by those big powers that can get the big dogs into a fight. And so, I pay attention to where governments are going, what they're putting their assets in, where they're trying to build up, military power and economic power. It's the same thing in business, is that everybody looks at the big dogs, but sometimes it's the little dogs that really count. Become more talented in every single way. Is things slow down, enjoy your trip. Don't overrush being successful. Is that you've seen it all too many. These people come in, they make these huge efforts. And I ask myself this, I watch some people in the detailing industry, in the car care industry, different segments, painters. I watch them and I wonder, they're talking to people in the industry, but they're not talking to their customers. So really, what's their end game? Are they just looking, again, is that reel I just put up? Are they looking to live for the cheers? I never did. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for what I had. It happened. And I didn't go out and force it to happen. It happened. It happened naturally. But I see a lot of people trying to force their way into fame and the cheers. And I got to ask myself, what's paying their bills? How are they getting by? Is they're doing all this stuff and they're putting cool shit quotes up. And I mean, I dig it, but how are they turning that into to owning their time? Is because, work in business is what we exchange our time for. And our time, tell you can't get it back, man. You just can't. So I look at all these people and I wonder, what the hell are you doing? And so it's just very confusing to me. And learn the art of knowledgeable hesitation. Remember, time is our best education. And I really appreciate all of you listening to this. Use this time wisely. But, if you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure to share that. Make a comment on wherever you're at right now. We'd love for you to share it over to your feed on your story and tell people that they can get something out of it. It means a great deal to us. In the meantime, go out, use knowledgeable hesitation. If you have any questions or comments, hey, man, get a hold of me, Renny at detailingsuccess.com. So, Chris, anything to add in closing?
No, I don't really have anything. You brought it up multiple times. I love the thing you said about time. I actually shared it in the comments here. Time is the best education. Problem solving comes from experience, and experiences take time. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do too, and it's true. And it's the difference between the young me and the older me is that the young me never had these experiences, and I am so glad that the old me goes back and visits with the younger me in a prideful way. I don't shake my head too many times because, I always didn't listen to my mentors, coaches, and teachers, but I learned to, and I learned the hard way. And so when people of great value are giving you lessons, you got to listen. So, all right, everybody. Well, hey, go out and have a powerful week. It's Wednesday. I get to go do some cool stuff up on base this weekend. Have a great Mother's Day on Sunday, and then unfortunately next Wednesday I won't be here. I'll be back on the East Coast doing some really cool stuff. We got man, you guys got to watch. There's some cut stuff coming down in July that's pretty incredible. So
that's right.
Besides,
I got a lot of guys saying that love the podcast, great episode, all that stuff. Just a reminder, guys, share it if you can. Just help us grow that audience is all. I think it'd be awesome.
We appreciate it. Is that if you're getting knowledge out of this, the only thing we ask is that you share it so we can continue to grow. And we don't get paid from the ratings and everything else. We just like to have people. We want to make an impact on as many people as we can, especially blue collar. So there's another fun thing we're doing too. There's some blue collar stuff coming out real soon. So, all right, all you guys take care. Have a powerful week. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Renny Doyle podcast, brought to you by Detailing Success and PNS Double Black. Listen to new episodes weekly, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to share with your friends and colleagues.